What's going on, guys? Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm going to be bringing an updated version of my Sneaker Bunko deck profile. The last one I uploaded was 27 minutes and it was super in-depth. I'm going to try to keep it shorter than that because while I like giving long deck profiles, 27 minutes is a lot, I'm not going to lie. There are a few changes to the deck, not too many, but there's a couple of big ones that definitely change sort of how the deck can play at different levels and stuff. While also there is some changes that are things that I didn't do. Like I said in the first deck profile, I would take certain cards out, and I didn't because they've just proven to be super powerful. So I'm going to go into it, try to make it shorter than 27 minutes. 4 of your mill runner, just very powerful. It's a mill runner that gives 500 on attack, which is pretty useful. I think it's just better than, your standard mill runner. Then you have 3 of this Ricky. So I said in my last video that there are certain plays you can make with this card, which is really weird because it's a Ricky. Like, what special plays are you making with a Ricky, which is a pretty generic effect? There are just things you can do with it at level 3 and stuff, or at any multitude of, or any different level, simply because it's not super restrictive. It's a very selective Ricky because it just says a Sneaker Bunko character, which means every single character in your deck is a target for this. And it's a salvage Ricky. So there's things you can do at level 3, salvaging level 3s that you couldn't do with a Ricky that, of course, selects level 1 or lower, or things like that. And it can just be very powerful in certain situations. Also on play, it has pay 2 bounce a character. It's just very good for anti-damage, very good for bodyguard effects. If you ever need an out to cards like those. You have other outs as well, but if you ever need a super hard out, this can just bounce them, and selective bounce is very powerful. So this is just a very good Ricky. Then you have 3 of this Grace. This is a pivotal point in the deck, and it's the first card of the Heart Hybrid engine, which is the biggest engine of the deck is the Heart Hybrid stuff. This is an on-play discard bond for your level 1 climax combo, which is huge because that means you can have your level 1 climax combo more often, and it's a pretty good one, so that's pretty favorable. And then she's kind of morphed the deck to be played in a certain way. When she's reversed in battle, you mill the top 2 cards of your deck, and if there's a level 2 or higher amongst them, you can send her to stock. So there's no stock charge combo in the deck, and we're running book and gate, so it's not like any of our climaxes stock charge either. So this is the only form of cheating stock, and we want to hit her as consistently as possible. So the ratios in the deck, there are more level 2s than I would normally play in a build. That hasn't changed from the first draft. It's still, the ratios are still working because you do run quite a few level 0s as well for consistency reasons. And you can cheat 2 or 3 of her in a game and just put you really far ahead. Your level 3 doesn't need a lot of stock to work, so it's fine that you don't have any stock charge combos, but if you cheat a couple stock with this card, it's just very advantageous. 2 of this Megamine. This is just a drop search, but if you have 2 or less stock, she gains 1500, so she doubles as a beater at 3/5. She just overstated. She can get you +1s if you open her, and they can't reverse her, so if you didn't open your mill runner, this can get you a +1 instead if she stays on the board. So just very good. And then we have 3 of this Kurousagi. This is your tap self brainstorm, tap self salvage, so that's pretty good. The first effect is irrelevant in this build because we're not running the level 3 that she works with, but just being a tap self plus brainstorm is what we needed. It's it's the best level 0 brainstorm in the set. And being level 0 is kind of important for this deck. There's a level 1 brainstorm that's better than her, but the fact that it's level 1 is a hindrance, so we do want to play the level 0 brainstorm. Then we have 2 of this Sayu. So this card is just really good. You can tap it to get 1500 somewhere, which lets you reverse lanes and your level 3 combos and on reverse combos. So this helps you beat over things even late game, because you can tap it, and then you have certain cards that remove cards in your level 1 that I will get to, that you can just kind of send her away for free, and then you have a level assist that works too and giving more power. Make sure you can get over walls early game, which is just really good. And then she also has, when you level up, you can pay 2 to search a Sneaker Bunko character, which is super good, just a +1. She can +1 multiple times in a game. You usually don't because it's just a lot of stock. But if you're cheating stock with your Grace, usually you have some leeway in what you can do. She can be like a big stock out to pay climaxes, or like pay out climaxes and stuff. And then lastly is this Aqua. So this I said I might take out for something else. That's just not going to happen. This Aqua is just like super, super good. How should I rearrange this? Let's try to go like this and hope there's enough space. I don't really know where the camera's looking at right now. But yeah, this Aqua is just like super, super good in certain matchups. Like in some matchups, she's not the greatest, but she's a one of. So like when she's bad, it's not like you're drawing multiples of her. So it's not like the biggest deal. Like you're never, even when she's not that great in a matchup, it's not like you're sad when you draw her, like super sad anyways. But in the matchup she's good, she's just too important. Like against Goblin Slayer in particular, you can just delete Priestess effects. She pretty much gets rid of on-play effects, and she's really good against like Bunny Girl Senpai because you can remove the Adolescence trait from the Bodyguard, and then it loses its back supports if they have the level 3s, you know, supporting it in the back. But getting rid of anti-damage, things like Fate, like 8 gold bar Fate with their really toxic Rider anti-damage by making you side attack, you can actually just get rid of it all. And this is one thing like I've done with this Riki, is like say they have, I don't know, 3 Priestess on the field. I've like, you know, played this, gotten rid of 1 Priestess, played over it with a Riki'd back for it, played it again, deleted another Priestess, and then you can get rid of her in another way, and then like you can brainstorm for her and then delete a 3rd Priestess. She's like pretty abusable as a one of. Normally you're not going to do that unless you don't have any other outs. But it is a way to just delete Priestess's effect. It's better against like, you know, 8 gold bar Fate because that thing is super hard to deal damage against. You can just delete its effect with this. It's just very, very good. And yep, still the actually same zero lineup. The changes come a little later. But yeah, that's 18 level zeros. Pretty much the standard number I usually run. And then we have 4 of your level 1 climax combo. I went and bought SPs because they look nice, and you're doing so much with this card all game that it felt kind of worth it to me because it's such a pivotal point of the deck. This is the 2nd card in your Heart Hybrid engine. It's the climax combo. So there's just a bunch of cards that work with this card, and it's a very large engine. But it's also the engine that made me want to like run the deck because I think it's pretty good. This thing on play, if you have another Sneaker Bunko character, gains 2k, making it 6-5, which is just bigger than most climax combos. That plus, they usually hit 6k. So 6-5 is very good even when you're not like comboing because it's just a 1-0-6-5 for a turn. But then its combo is with the book on attack, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Sneaker Bunko, add it to your hand. So it's just any, if you hit a character, you +1. So an interactive +1, that's 6-5 is just kind of good. So it's definitely, and it's one you can use throughout the game because even if it's like not, you know, it's uninteractive. So even if you're not going to reverse your opponent's characters, you can get pluses. You have ways to search your climax. You can bond for this all the time. So you usually get the combo off multiple times a game. You can go very plus, and you do just beat down walls. You're not doing much reverse denial with this level 1 because, you know, it's only 4-5 on defense. But like it's still just super good. And then 2 of this Eris. So this was a 3 of. I cut it down to 2 of because it can clog sometimes, but it's still like really good for making your hand super playable. Like you have a lot of level 2 or higher characters because of your Grace Bond. This card is just a discard a card, put a level 0 into play, which again lets you abuse your Grace Bond again to cheat more stock. Or, you know, that's why your Brainstormer's level 0. You can get your Sayu support and stuff. So it makes your hands really playable even when there was like a bunch of high level characters, which I like. Same thing with your Grace Bond. Since they're both like discard cards to get characters that are playable, they're just really good like hand filter and make dead hands really playable. Like you can tri-lane very easily with just 1 Riki. Like if you had only 1 Riki as the only playable card in your hand, you just like play your Riki, get this, discard a card, get a level 0, and there's tri-lane. Not the greatest tri-lane, of course, because you know you're not reversing 2 lanes more than likely, but it does mean you can tri-lane with a really dead hand is what I'm trying to say. Of course, there are better scenarios, but hopefully your hand isn't so dead that you can't do anything, because this level 1 is so like searchable, and you usually just ride this through your entire level 1. Like this is really your whole level 1 game because it has bonds. You're searching through it in like a multitude of ways. Yeah, usually just see a lot of this card. and it's really good. So this is only 6 like characters at level 1, which is a very small number. The only other level 1 we play is 2 of this event because this event is really, really good. On play, you sack a character to search a climax, so it makes sure that you have this combo more often. You're running book and gate. These aren't searchable climaxes by any normal means, so having an event that searches them is super good because it just means you will have your combos more often. It's very, very powerful. So yeah, that's 8 level 1s. Definitely a small level 1 number, but it feels like so much more than 8 because you have like a bond for your level 1 climax combo, and you can just search it very, very easy. So yep. Starting level 2s, we have 1 of this Yuki. This was a 2 of, now it's a 1 of. It's more of like a situational pick now. Like I was playing 2 before, but it's only good in like certain matchups. Like it's a good card. On play, gain 500 for every Sneaker Bunko character, so she's 10k base when she comes into play if she's the last thing to come into play. And then she's an on-field backup. So now what I've just decided to kind of use this for is like things where you need to reverse deny. Like being an on-field backup lets you reverse deny like 1 to 2 lanes depending on how their attack order goes or how they have to attack order. It's really good against like Goblin Slayer's game ender, like the TD Goblin Slayer that is on reverse, pay 3 burn 2. This is really good against things like that in general, like any like on reverse level 3 combos. You can just sack this lane if it attacks something, or if they attack this first, like you probably should, you can pump some other lane and maybe deny reverse there. Like on-field backups are just very good. It's red fix, and it's level 2 or higher, so it also works with our level support, which is another reason it's really good. So it's more like a situational pick. And then 2 of this anti-early play. So this card's really, really great. If it fights a level 3 against 6k power, making it 13k base, which is very powerful. And then if it comes in on a full field, you put a Sneaker Bunko character from your waiting room into stock. So she's like a 2/0 13k, which is insane value. This card is great. And then 2 of this level assist. So this was a 1 of, now it's a 2 of. I just wanted to see it more. Like seeing this card's kind of important because our level 3 combo is on reverse. And this thing works specifically with our level 3 climax combo and this Yuki, where you can tap him to give this Yuki or the climax combo 2k power. In combination with like your Sayu, you can get things to like 16-5, 17-5 very easily, which is really big. It actually helps against Bunny Girl because you can actually outpower the bodyguard, which is crazy, and it's just very, very good. You can hit a really high attack power. And being a level assist is also just good, so I cut one of the Yukis for one of these because I just wanted to see this more often. And then lastly, and one of the bigger changes is we're running one of the Sylvia backup. I was running another like anti-early play, but it was another one of the like sort of proactive anti-early plays, not reactive. It wasn't a backup. But having an anti-change backup is definitely just the play to go. I had so many ways to out early plays with like my Ricky bounce or my Aqua for certain situations like anti-damage. That I didn't think I needed to spend the resources for an anti-change backup, and that was just, that's not really true because this does things differently than others, right? This is better for more aggressive level 3s as well. It just has situations where it's better, and like running it, if your opponent sees you're running an anti-change backup, of course they have to act accordingly. This was something that always should have been the build. It was just the other one for, I really don't know the reason, but this should have always been in the build. So yeah, just your anti-change backup. And that is 6 level 2s, which is a lot higher than my normal level 2 counts. On 2 level 3s, 4 of this Aine. She is just an early play 11-5 healer. She's the 3rd card in the Heart Hybrid engine because when she comes into play, obviously she's 7k base. When she comes into play, you can put your level 1 climax combo or face up under her as a marker, and she gains 4/5. So other than that, she's an early play healer, and she technically grants you 1 card of compression, which is really cool. Early play healers are very good. Just a really powerful card. Her condition is 6 or more climaxes in waiting room, which is a little hard to set up sometimes, but depending on your deck state, it can be a very good condition, so it just really depends. Because you can kind of like brainstorm to get yourself, closer to having 6 or more in waiting room, so that's very cool that you can sort of set it up like that. But yeah, so I've considered dropping her to 3 just because she does clog, and if you miss her requirement, then she's just dead in hand. But She's also more like a happenstance card, like a situation, like a circumstance, where if I have her, I play her. I'm not usually searching for her too often. But she's so good, like I want to see her at the same time. So that's a ratio that may change, but otherwise this might just be like the final build of Sneaker Bunko. And then for this Mio, so this is your main climax combo. She's a healer on play, and she's oversized. She gains 500 for each card in your back row. So she's 10-5, this is 11-5. You have 8 oversized healers, and 4 of them are early plays. Very good. And then 4 of your other healers that aren't early plays are on a climax combo. That's just a very, very efficient level 3 lineup. And it's one of the things I love about this level 3 lineup is your game ender's a healer, your early play's a healer. It means you have a lot of like healing and sustain in that aspect, but also she's just like a super free game ender. She comes with gate, and when you reverse your opponent's character, you deal X damage, where X is equal to how many reverse characters they have. Of course, on reverse combos aren't like the most amazing, but she doesn't pay stock, she doesn't pay hand. She's like the freest thing ever, which is super powerful. And you do get 6 instances of damage when you're reversing their field, which is pretty easy with all your supports and stuff. You can hit like such a high attack power in this deck with Sayus and your level assists. And her natural, like, just being quite big. Or 10-5 isn't the craziest thing, of course, but when other level 3s aren't that big, it's pretty good. So yeah, just like a free game ender, like this card is so powerful, and it's one of the reasons I think to play the deck is just how good this card is, in my opinion. It is a little awkward because she ramps up damage through the turn when you want to deal less damage. But again, 6 instances of damage is very good. One of this Heinrike. So this card is still a 1-of. It was a 2-of for a while, but it went back down to a 1-of for the next card, which is one of the bigger changes to the deck, I think, because it does change a dynamic to the deck. This card's just so good because she's damage on play. Like, you mill 5, and for every climax, deal X, where X is equal to how many mill climaxes. So if you mill 2 climaxes, burn 2. It's very good because you can play this and like sack it off for your event to search the gate and then drop 3 meal, and then you get 7 instances of damage. Just very good. This also has like on play top check, leave it on top or bottom. So like this card can kind of fix your compression in a bad deck. Like if you see a climax and you have like 10 cards in deck or something, you can send that climax to the bottom, mill 5. There are just some deck states where this card can fix your compression, which is also kind of cool, and it works really good with your next card if you have a very bad deck. But yeah, this card is just like, it extends the ceiling of how far the deck's damage game can go. And then one of this Aqua. So this is one of the bigger changes to the deck, is just one of this. Because it changes sort of how like you set up. Like I said, this deck in my last profile is like hyper consistent. It can do so much with so little, which is my favorite thing about the deck, honestly, is how easy it can play through like any hand and how far it can go with its hands. Just like how plus it can be and how much it can do even when like your deck state was terrible and you had a bunch of unfortunate things happen. But there were a couple games where every now and then you wouldn't like get to your gate, or you only had 2 meals or something. This Aqua is like the only top check X in the set. She's from the TD. When she comes into play, top check X equal to Sneaker Bunko characters. So on a full field, you're top checking 5. She can get you your gate, or at least the event to search the gate, which is very, very good. She can also get more meals if you need more of that. Anything like that. Like this Aqua can search. She's also the only level 3 that pluses on play. So that's something to note. And these two together can get you through bad deck states, because you can essentially mill like 10 cards out of your deck, which is very nice. She also gains, on attack, she gains plus 1k, or she gains X, where X is equal to your other Sneaker Bunko characters times 1k. So on attack on a full field, she gains 4k. This card can hit like 17-5 on offense pretty easily, with Climax plus a Sayu plus a level assist. She can get extremely big. So it's pretty good. Just very, very, like she can be the biggest thing in your deck, which is nice. And that's it for level 3s. It's 10. So we run 6 level 2s, 10 level 3s, which is 16 targets for the Grace Bond. And then climaxes, you have 4 books and 4 gates. The book is obviously the last card in the Heart Hybrid Engine, works with your level and climax combo. And gate works with your level 3 combo. And yeah, hopefully that was shorter than my last deck profile. If you want more in-depth sort of explanations, you can watch that one. There weren't too many changes from this build, so like it's not too different and my explanations still stand. But this one I wanted to be shorter just for people to like kind of watch it all the way through without devoting so much time to it. Yep, this is still one of my favorite decks right now. I think it's so powerful. And while I explained it a little more in depth in the last profile, hopefully I explained everything how I kind of wanted to explain it in this profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you can leave a like, subscribe. This was Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.